Hey folks, it's Eugene here, and hope you're all doing well. Today what I'm going to be doing is some scanning of this vehicle, and I'm going to be doing the exterior and the interior. Now the weather's been really crummy the past week and a half, so I haven't had a lot of chance to do videos or recording. This is the first day, it's cloudy, but at least it's not raining. Today is also a special day, and the reason is it's the first year anniversary of Recon 3D. So May 5th, 2022 was the first day that the app was released officially, and so it's 1 year. It's come a long way, but still a long way to go, so I'm pretty happy about that. Now, if I was normally scanning a vehicle for the interior and the exterior, and I had a terrestrial laser scanner, then what I would do is go around to a bunch of different locations, and then I would also open the door, put the scanner on the inside, and then scan on the inside. So basically dropping it in to the middle of the bench seats, or maybe in the back or something like that, and that would pretty much do it. But what I'm going to do here today is I'm going to be using Recon 3D, and I'm going to go all the way around the car. So I'm going to do probably multi-loops. So I'll start low, I'll go all the way around, and I'll kind of do the midsection, and then I'll do the upper section. I'm not going to get too picky about the resolution or some of the details. This is more about the concept. Also, I would normally use targets. So the 2 April tags that are used for scaling and everything else, I would normally do it that way, but I'm not going to bother with it. Really the intent here is to show you how you can bring the two projects together. So there'll be an exterior project, and then I'm going to do a second one, which is an interior project. So how am I going to handle that one? Well, what I'm going to do, open up all the doors, and I'm going to start scanning from here, and then I'm going to go around the vehicle. I'm going to capture the front, go to the other side, get the interior from the front, from the back, go around the back, do the back end here, the rear, and then do the front again. So I've got some overlap, and I'm going to close that loop. Once I do that, I have two separate projects, and once those are finished processing, what I'm going to do is go to Cloud Compare. And in Cloud Compare, I can take the two, and just by picking some points or maybe doing a cloud-to-cloud registration, I can bring the two together. Now, once they are together, I'm going to have a vehicle with doors open, and I'm going to have a vehicle with doors closed. So that's going to be a little bit of a problem. But because they are two separate scans, I can just cut out the doors and put them on a separate layer, and I can just keep the interior, and this way I can just shut off the exterior part and export just the parts that I need. So that's the basic process. All I'm going to use here is I've got my Manfrotto pole, I've got a little phone adapter, and the phone itself. And the thing here is that you want to be able to get up high above the top of the vehicle. Like I said, I'm not going to be too picky. So let me get started. I'm going to do the exterior first, and then I'll do the interior. So give me a second here, and I'll fire this up. Okay, so it looks like it's recording here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in a name here. So I'm going to call it interior, exterior. So I'll call it, this one's the exterior. So I'll just call it Ext. You get really lazy with these names sometimes, but I'm going to have fun with it. I'm going to use the defaults. I am not going to use the target detection. So 5mm at a 5-meter depth of reconstruction. Leave it like that. I'm going to go save scan settings. Now I'm going to extend this right away, and I can work with this pretty simple like that. And I'm going to get set up around here. And if this is my starting point, then I'm going to want to finish here as well. So let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and start. Okay, so I'm going to go around the bottom. So I'm getting the ground, and I'm also getting parts of the bottom of the vehicle. And so that's one loop. And like I said, I'm not going to be too picky about getting a lot or a ton of details. So let me get the bottom here. Great, and now let me go. So now that I'm closing the loop on the first one, I'm going to raise this up a bit, and I'm going to start to get the middle like that. So get the front just like that. And you see that I did start a little bit sideways, but that's okay. I'm just going to go here, still getting a little bit of the bottom, getting the back. Sometimes the blacks, like the bumper part here, can be a little bit tricky, so I'm just going to zoom around that. I should be okay. Okay, something like this. So now I'm going to start to go a little bit higher. So this is where I'm going to use the pole, like this. Now on top of the hood here, I'm just going to wave this around a little bit, and that way that assures that the sensor is more or less perpendicular. I'm going to stay back here. That looks pretty good. And get the top Now the only other thing I may want to do is, and actually go back here, I'm just going to wave this on top here to help close any of the holes that you can typically get on top of the roof. And I'll do it from the side here as well. Just like that. I'm going to step in, step out, come back like that, and I'm almost there. I'm just going to do this part here up top like that, and do the same thing. I'm just going to go over, try to get that sensor more or less perpendicular, and I do not want to be too close. That's not good if you're too close. So just like that, I'm happy with that, good enough. Like I said, normally I might spend a little bit more time on the bottom and some of the details. That's good enough for me. I'm gonna save that one for later, and I'm gonna do another one now. So for this, I don't need the monopod here all the way up. I'm just gonna keep it like that. And I'm gonna start opening some doors here, like that. And let me go around this side and do the same thing. And there we go. Okay, so that's ready to go. So again, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start on the interior. I'm gonna wave this around a bit, try to scan as much as I can. And of course, again, you spend a little bit more time getting into some of the areas that have line of sight issues, move the phone up and down, try to get some of those details that you want. I'm just gonna do it relatively quick just to kind of show you the concept. And then I'm gonna come around, I'll come around the front, and I wanna capture the front of the vehicle. I wanna capture a lot of things that are gonna overlap with the exterior scan. That's gonna be super helpful. So let's get going with that, and you'll see exactly what I mean. So I'm gonna start this up. This one I will call int and create. I'm gonna use the defaults just the same, and you can see I got something like this. So let me go ahead and start scanning. All right, there we go. So I'm scanning like this. I'm gonna try and get part of the seat up and down, something like this. I'm gonna try and get across this side like that, get some of the top there. Okay, that's pretty good. Now I don't really care about the door, but I'm gonna have to go around it anyway. And I'm gonna have to pick up the outside of the vehicle like this. And I don't need to do a lot here. I just need to pick up the majority of it, enough to get me, you know, a little bit of overlap, or enough that I can get common points between the two sides. So now I'm getting the door. I got part of the ground, plenty to look at here. And now I'm gonna move in and get the interior here. Now I don't care about the door, because that's gonna be closed. Another trick you could do is you could have somebody following you behind you and closing the doors. That's something you could probably do. So I'm gonna try and sneak in here and see if I can get the headrest a bit better. Something like that. And get the ground. Now obviously there's some, you know, spots that are gonna be a little bit hidden, but that's good enough for me. I'm gonna come back out, get a nice view, move back, move around, and let's do this part here. So I'm gonna get the back, and I'm gonna take advantage of this space that's back here, get the other seat. I'm gonna point it down. Now remember, my interior is dark, so it may not come out all that well, but we'll see what it looks like. So obviously black is not good for the laser, and that's gonna cause a little bit of an issue. But you know, a gray interior or something like that would probably reconstruct even better. And that just has to do with the absorption of the laser, but I think this is gonna be okay. Just let me get a little bit more on the ground there. All right, so I'm gonna go back around the other side, and I'm almost there. So I'll go around this side, and like I said, I wanna get some common features on the ground and some details on the back of the vehicle. And let me punch into this section here. All right, so we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna get up here on this side, get the seats, the back of the seats, the parts that are hidden or obscured. Down on the ground, I'm gonna do part of the seats. And you see I'm always moving, like I'm kind of moving in and out, moving around, trying to get as much as I can, like that. I got part of my sweater hanging over the seat, no big deal. Okay, so I think that's good. I think you guys will get the idea. I'm gonna come around this side. Now, I'm back where I started again, so I'm just gonna move in a bit, make sure I got some overlap. All right, plenty there. I might even go up to this side a bit more, you know, get part of the headrest again. I think I'm good with that. I'm gonna come back here, go like this, get the front again. Plenty there to, you know, overlap with. So I'm good there. I'm gonna stop, and that's it. So I'm gonna save this one for later as well. And that's it. I got my 2 scans up on my Recon 3D scan folder, and what I need to do now is I will upload them, or you can try to process it on the device, but I'm going to upload these to the cloud, and once I do that, I'll have the 2 files, and then I'm going to jump into Cloud Compare. So that's it. Stand by. There'll be more. Okay, folks, we're back, and I've got both scans here. I've got the interior scan and the exterior scan. They're both kind of sitting on top of each other. Let's just have a quick look here. So I'm going to look at the exterior first. So that's it there. You can see that as I get close, there's some data that's missing over here. I could have done a better job there of scanning, but again, for the purposes of what we're doing here, it should be absolutely fine. The next thing is, let's look at the interior. Let me switch that on. So there you go. You can see I've got the doors open, and I've got the seats and stuff. And there's obviously, it looks like a mess because I didn't do the roof, and there's like some data that was difficult to get on top of the dash. So that just kind of looks rather sparse there, which is fine. Like I said, for the purposes of what we're doing, we should be fine. So often what I'll do when I start something like this is I'll just do a little bit of cropping and cleanup. I just find it's a little bit easier to manage without all this data. So usually what I'll do is with the scan selected, I'll go up to the scissors. That's a segment tool. And I'm just going to do a quick cut. And that's just using the left mouse button. I'm going to right click to stop, and then I'm going to crop in. So I'm going to get rid of all that extraneous stuff, and I'm going to hit the delete button. That means that it'll save my changes, but it's going to get rid of all the other stuff that I didn't want. So that's one. And let me do the same thing over here on this exterior. There's a lot of stuff here. So let me take that, and I need to make sure that it's selected. Go to the segment tool, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I don't need all of the sidewalk and stuff like that. Just go around, something like this, right click to stop and get in. Okay. So that got rid of a little bit of data that I probably don't need. Now let me turn both on again. All right. So something that I often do, or a way that there's different approaches to doing this. So one is to do just point picking alignment. So you want to get the 2 vehicles. So you want the interior to align with the exterior vehicle. But because they have, exterior portions that are common, I could just do some quick point picking and then try to get it roughly together. Another way to do this is by manually aligning one to the other as close as I can, and then doing like a cloud to cloud registration. Or if it's close enough by eye that you've got the interior in there, then you're absolutely fine too. You could accept that as well. But usually I like to clean things up a little bit, and I like to organize the vehicle so that they're side by side. So let me just do that. I'm going to go to a top down view like this, and I am going to take the exterior, and I'm going to do translate, rotate. I'm going to use the Z. I'm not going to move up and down. In this, these are sort of some check boxes that you can choose like how you want to rotate and stuff like that, or move. So I'm going to take that, put it like this. That's good over there. And then I'm going to accept that. I'm going to pick the other one, which is the interior, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Oh, not that. I don't want to segment. I want to translate, rotate, and I'm just going to rotate it so it's kind of oriented in a similar way, just so they're side by side. Like that. Now, I think one of them is a little bit lower than the other, so I can see that there, but it doesn't matter. If we're going to register the 2, then it shouldn't cause us much grief. So let's start picking some points and see if we can bring this together just roughly. Okay, it's not going to be a fine registration. It's just going to be really quick, and I tend to do these pretty quick as well. So in order to do this, I need both selected. So I'm going to click on the first one, the exterior, and then the interior, and then I'm going to go to this one here. Okay, so this is roughly aligns with point picking. I'm going to move the interior here, click OK. And now I need to pick on some common points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the license plate here, this one here. That picks me a point. I'm going to do another one over here. And I need about 4 points. So I'll find some common ground here. Maybe one here at the intersection of these lines. I'm going to do the same thing over here, like that. And then I'm going to go around the back, and I'll probably pick something on the tire. Let me see here if I can zoom in. Sometimes if you can't zoom in enough, you just double click, and that'll reset the pivot point. So let me click there. I got that one. I'm going to do the same thing on this other vehicle. Another thing that you could do if you wanted, you can pick all the points on one vehicle and then pick them on the other vehicle, but they need to be in the same order. So they need to be organized in a manner that you'll remember, because if you put them out of order, then it's going to get completely confused. So I can see that wasn't exactly where I wanted. It's up in that corner. And this is where having a little bit better resolution is a little bit more beneficial. So something like that. All right. So if I do this right now, you see it's got like a 1 centimeter error. So I'm just going to go align, and I'm going to have a look here and see what I've got. Okay. So that's okay. It's not perfect by any means, but it's not bad. It's not bad. So I can see a little bit of overlap in the back, and I could tweak this, but this right now is good enough for what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to accept this. And it gives me some results. So it's like 1.3 centimeters, and I'm going to click OK. All right. So now I've got the exterior and the interior aligned, and they're both one on top of each other. So if I take the exterior, you can see that it's something like this. So it's not too bad. Now, what I am going to want to do though is I need to edit the interior now. So really, I don't need the doors, the front, the back, or anything. I just need to keep the interior. So there are some different ways to do this. There's some really sort of fancy ways, and then there's sort of brute force methods, which is what I'm going to do right here. And for that, really what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the segmentation tool, and I'm going to get rid of all of this stuff. So let me just hit on the interior, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the segmentation tools, and let's see if I just start clicking here. I got to get rid of these doors. I don't need the interior part, so I'm actually going to go a little bit heavier, a little bit aggressive on the cuts here, because I don't need all that stuff. The exterior of the body is going to hide all of this anyway. I'll go around the front. Okay. And then I'm going to right click to stop, and then I'm going to crop in. So I have all this. Now I move this to the side. The other thing that can be helpful is if you go to orthographic projection, it's sort of, you don't get the lines, the perspective lines bending. So I just need the interior. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to hit, see it says segmentation paused. I'm going to press the space bar, and I'm going to get rid of all of this stuff. Just going to try and keep the interior part like that. I may even I'll cut the dash out. I'll get rid of all this stuff up here, the pillars, and just really go aggressive. And I'm going to crop in. Let's have a look what that looks like. So, okay, there's a little bit more cleanup that I could do here, I think. I could probably do a bit more, but let me go back to perspective mode. I'm going to accept this, and I'm going to delete everything. If you hit the checkbox, you keep all of the stuff that's been edited out or that you can't see, that's not visible right now. But if I hit the delete, all that other stuff is going to disappear. So I can't get it back. So I'm going to hit delete though. I don't want it. And now I can just go to the exterior and turn that on. And now you see when I zoom in, you'll see that I've got the interior seats right there. Now I did cut off part of the dash here, but you'll see that the interior and the exterior are aligned. Now, if I really want to touch this up, I obviously want to go back and clean up a lot of these little details on the interior, but I can also merge these two together as a single file, as a single scan. So in order to do that, I have to click on the exterior and then hold down the control key, interior. And there's a button here. It says to merge. So I'm going to click on this, merge. Now it's going to ask me if I want to generate a scalar field with the original cloud index. For most people, this won't matter because you're going to combine them anyway, but a scalar field would allow you to separate them again in the future. I don't need to do that. I'm just going to hit no. Okay, like that. And you'll see that they come together as one. So now it's just one here. So I'm just going to go vehicle, interior and exterior like that. And that's it. That gives you everything. And from here now, if I were to export this, so if I go to save and export this as an E57 file, I basically get one scan with all of this stuff. And of course, you know, I can do other things, like I can get rid of the ground plane and just leave the vehicle. There's some ways you can do that just by doing exactly what I showed you. So if I go to orthographic mode, I go on the side like this. And I've done a video where I've shown this, but I'll just show it very quickly. I have it selected. I'm going to go to segmentation tools, and basically I'm just going to click like this, click down, click what I don't need like that. And then right click, and then I'm going to crop out. And if I rotate around, you'll see part of the ground is gone. Then what I usually do is I'll go to the front like that, and I'll do the same thing. I'll just go around, start cutting things out like this. And I'm doing this obviously very quickly. All right, I'm going to segment that out. And let's say I get rid of all that stuff. Now you see that I've got some smaller patches that I need to edit. And that's very easy to do. I just go back, rinse and repeat, cut these out. And eventually what I'll do is I'll have a vehicle with the interior and the exterior. So That's it for this one. Scanning exterior, scanning interior, keep the doors open. You can align the two, do some editing to clean it up. A little bit better job than what I've done here, but this should give you the idea of how to combine scans. All right, folks, take care. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.